I'll never forget the day I found a strange symbol etched into the baseboard of my new home. It was a small house with a perfect facade, but a wonky staircase that creaked with every step. The realtor assured me it was just an old house settling, but as I stood there, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. I tried to brush it off, thinking maybe I was just being paranoid, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had no idea who the previous owner was, or why they had chosen such an unusual design for the staircase. The symbol seemed out of place in the otherwise tastefully decorated living room, and I couldn't help but wonder what it meant. As I began to explore the house further, I noticed something else peculiar, a small note stuck between two books on a shelf. It read, "Do not go up the stairs at night." The handwriting was messy, but it looked like it had been written by someone who was genuinely trying to warn me away from something. I thought back to all the times I'd asked my realtor about the house's history, and how she'd seemed evasive when I pressed for details. Now it made sense she knew more than she was letting on. The curiosity gap had finally opened up, and I couldn't wait to explore further. But here's what nobody tells you about buying a new home. The realtor isn't always looking out for your best interests. Sometimes they're just trying to make a sale, no matter what secrets come with it. And that's exactly what I was getting myself into, a house with secrets and lies hiding in every corner. As I continued to investigate, I found more strange notes scattered throughout the house, on the fridge, on the back of a door, even stuck between two panes of glass in one of the windows. It seemed like someone had been trying to send me a message, but what did it all mean? The more I dug, the more questions I had. Who was this mysterious person leaving notes around the house? What were they warning me away from? And why did it feel like I was uncovering a web of deceit that went far beyond just one old house with a wonky staircase? But here's what I didn't realize until I started talking to my neighbors. The previous owner had been known for his, let's call them, eccentricities. He'd been a recluse, rarely seen around town, but often heard arguing with himself in his backyard. Some folks even swore they saw him moving furniture into the house at 3 a.m. one night. It still doesn't add up. Why would someone go to such great lengths to leave these cryptic messages and strange warnings? And what exactly were they trying to protect me from? As I stood there, piecing together the puzzle of my new home's mysterious past, I realized that sometimes you have to look beyond the surface level to uncover the truth. It wasn't just a house with a wonky staircase, it was a story waiting to be told. And then, just as I thought I'd finally uncovered all its secrets, I stumbled upon one last note tucked away in an old trunk in the attic. It read, "Don't say I didn't warn you." The handwriting was the same as before, but this time there was something different, a sense of resignation. Like whoever wrote it had given up trying to keep me from what was coming. It all clicked into place. Then the symbol on the baseboard wasn't just any random design. It was a warning sign, left behind by someone who knew more about the house's history than they were letting on. And I realized that I'd been living in this house without even realizing it was haunted. Not by ghosts or spirits, but by secrets. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place as I looked around my living room at the wonky staircase, the symbol etched into the baseboard, and all the notes scattered throughout the house. It wasn't just a home with a few quirks, it was a story waiting to be told, one that would change me forever. In the end, I learned that sometimes you have to dig deep to uncover the truth about what's really going on in your life. And for me, that truth was hiding right under my feet, in the very foundation of my new home. As I stood there, frozen by the sheer weight of it all, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me, like finally being handed the keys to a long-hidden safe deposit box. The symbol etched into the baseboard now made sense. It was a crude representation of the house's original blueprint, with an X marked through one section. And those notes scattered throughout the house, they were cryptic messages left by a former owner, detailing a hidden room or compartment deep within the walls. My mind reeled as I began to piece together the story. The previous owners had been some kind of eccentric family, known for their love of puzzles and codes. They'd been searching for something, a treasure perhaps, a secret worth hiding. But what could be so valuable that it would drive them to such extremes? I recalled the contractor's words, "This house has secrets." Now I knew he wasn't just spouting sales jargon. I wandered over to the staircase and ran my hand along its wonky railing. It was sturdier than I'd thought, but still, two drywall screws holding up an entire flight of stairs. That didn't sit right with me. Was it a makeshift repair job or something more sinister? The inspector's words echoed in my mind. I've seen some strange things in my time, but this house takes the cake. What had he meant? Determined to get to the bottom of it all, I spent the rest of the day searching for any hidden compartment or secret room. It wasn't easy. Every possible hiding spot was thoroughly searched and double-checked, but I refused to give up. And then, just as the sun began to set, I stumbled upon a small, almost imperceptible seam in the baseboard. A faint line of dust coated its edge, hinting that it might be a hidden door or panel. I felt my heart racing with excitement and trepidation as I pried open the seam, revealing a narrow crawl space behind. It was cramped and dimly lit, but as I made my way deeper into the darkness, I spotted something glinting in the distance, an old key, half buried in the dust. I reached for it, my fingers closing around its cool metal surface like a lifeline. It took me several minutes to extract myself from the crawl space, but finally I emerged back into the bright sunlight, clutching the key in one hand and a newfound sense of purpose in the other. The secret was no longer hidden under my feet, it was now within reach, waiting for me to unlock its mysteries once and for all. As I walked back into the house, key still clutched in my hand, I felt a surge of anticipation building inside me. What secrets lay hidden behind this old door? Was it a relic from the past or a crucial piece of evidence that would change everything? I turned the key over in my palm, feeling its weight and heft, trying to will myself into remembering where I'd seen it before. But the memories refused to surface, lost in the dusty recesses of my mind. It wasn't until I reached the kitchen, where a faint smell of decay wafted up from the sink, that something sparked in my recollection. My grandmother's old trunk, tucked away in the attic for decades, was said to hold secrets and stories of its own. A sudden image flashed into my head, an old photograph, yellowed with age, of her standing proudly beside a dilapidated door. I spun around, almost colliding with the kitchen chair, as I recalled a conversation with my grandfather years ago. He'd spoken of the house's complex layout, how multiple owners had added their own wings and extensions over the years. But one structure in particular caught his attention, a forgotten annex, supposedly hidden behind a dummy wall in the basement. With renewed purpose, I set off towards the basement, the key still clutched tightly in my hand. The air grew thick with anticipation as I made my way down the creaky stairs, my footsteps echoing through the empty space. It was then that I saw a faint outline on the wall, almost imperceptible to the naked eye. A small lever, expertly concealed behind a tattered picture frame. As I reached out to touch the lever, my heart skipped a beat. Could this be the key to unlocking the mystery of the forgotten annex? I gently pressed it down, and the sound of creaking wood filled the air as the wall slid open, revealing a narrow passageway. The musty smell wafting from within made my stomach turn, but my curiosity propelled me forward. I took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness, fumbling for a light source in my pocket. A small flashlight flickered to life, casting an eerie glow on the walls as I began to make my way down the passage. The air grew colder with each step, and I could feel a fine layer of dust coating my skin. As I turned a corner, the passageway opened up into a small room, its ceiling lost in darkness. Shelves lined the walls, filled with dusty jars and old trunks, their labels worn and faded. A faint scent of decay hung heavy in the air, and I could feel a presence lurking just out of sight. I swept my flashlight beam across the shelves, illuminating cobweb-covered photographs and yellowed newspaper clippings. One particular clipping caught my eye, a headline that read, "Local woman goes missing," above a grainy photograph of a young woman with piercing green eyes. My heart skipped another beat as I recognized the same eyes staring back at me from my own family's photos. A shiver ran down my spine as I turned to examine the rest of the room, searching for any clues that might lead me closer to uncovering the secrets hidden within these walls. That was when I saw it, a small leather-bound book lying open on a nearby trunk, its pages dog-eared and worn from frequent use. I approached cautiously, my eyes scanning the text as I read the words scrawled across the page. "For Emily's sake, they must never know." My mind reeled with questions. Who was Emily? What secrets were hidden behind these walls? And what did it have to do with me? The more I read, the more I became convinced that this forgotten annex held the key to unraveling a family mystery that had been shrouded in silence for generations. As I delved deeper into the book's contents, I realized that I was no longer just searching for answers. I was on a quest to uncover my own family's hidden past. And what I found would change everything. As I turned the page, the words seemed to blur together in front of me, and I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. It wasn't just the secrets that were hitting me like a ton of bricks. It was the realization that my own family's history was more complex than I could have ever imagined. I thought back to my grandmother's stories about our ancestors being pillars of society, but now those tales seemed like carefully crafted facades. I stumbled backward, tripping over a loose board on the floor, and landed hard on the dusty surface. The book went flying out of my hands, its pages fluttering wildly as it came to rest against the wall. I scrambled to my feet, feeling a sense of panic rising up inside me. What if someone had been watching me? What if they knew about the book? I took a deep breath and approached the book cautiously, picking it up with shaking hands. The words on the page seemed even more ominous now. For Emily's sake, they must never know. Who was Emily, and what did she have to do with my family? I scanned the room frantically, searching for any clues that might lead me to answers. That's when I saw it, a small, ornate box tucked away in a corner of the trunk. It was adorned with intricate carvings and a rusted lock that looked like it hadn't been opened in decades. My heart racing, I approached the box slowly, feeling an inexplicable sense of trepidation. The words on the book seemed to be burning into my brain now. For Emily's sake, they must never know. What secrets were hidden within these walls? And what did they have to do with me? I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should open the box, but something about it drew me in. I picked up a small key from the trunk and inserted it into the lock. The mechanism clicked loudly, and the lid creaked open, revealing a collection of yellowed letters tied together with a faded ribbon. I felt my heart sink as I recognized the handwriting on the envelopes. They belonged to my great-great-grandmother. I pulled out one of the letters and unfolded it carefully, my eyes scanning the page for any sign of Emily's name. And then, like a punch to the gut, I saw it. My dearest Emily, I'm writing this in secret, hidden away from prying eyes. They'll never know what we've done. As I read on, my mind reeled with questions: who was Emily, and what had she done that was so clandestine? The handwriting on the page was elegant, but the words themselves spoke of desperation and fear. I pulled out another letter, this one dated several months later, and began to read. I'm glad you're safe, my love. But we can't stay hidden forever. The weight is crushing me. Crushed by what? A secret, a lie, a family member. My great-great-grandmother's words seemed to seep into my very bones, chilling me to the core. The letters went on for pages, a tangled web of love and deceit that left me breathless. I felt like an intruder, a trespasser in a world I never knew existed. But as I read on, something strange began to dawn on me. These secrets, they seemed to be connected to my own life somehow. A thread of history ran through these letters, one that linked my great-great-grandmother's struggles with mine own.